Welcome into the DNVR Rockies podcast, brought to you by Brooms and also by Strava Craft Coffee. Remember to use promo code DNVR25. You'll get 25% off your entire purchase of that CBD infused, deliciously rich, and potentially life-altering Strava Craft Coffee. I'm your host, Drew Creasman. I'm the managing editor of DNVR Rockies. And with me, as always, is the team of beat writers, Makayla Perkins, Patrick Lyons. On this episode, we discuss somehow, some way, yet another sweep for your Colorado Rockies at home, of course. I mean, this is obviously right, but and of the Pittsburgh Pirates, not exactly world beaters, but yes, my mother right on the ball right here. Someone find Spence Smith, get that young man his money.
He called it. He called for the sweep. He said, "Rockies in three."
In three.
Rockies he said it. Threw it down right in front of all of those Pittsburgh Pirates fans. Not only just all over the world, but in the Denver area specifically, threw the three right in their face. Big sweep. And the way they did it, too, was exciting. Boy. It's fun. Hey, it's summertime. Good timing. We're back in Coors Field. We got the 4th of July coming. That felt good, didn't it?
Listen, the first half of the season didn't even happen. Opening day 2.0 was on Monday. The season started on Monday. The Rockies are undefeated in 2021.
That's right.
It's a good time to be a Rockies fan because they looked phenomenal. I know it was against the Pirates, and the Pirates are horrible, but this is also the team that got swept by the Pirates on the road.
That's right.
Not even a month ago. So we'll take what we can get in Rockies land.
That's absolutely right.
They shut out the Rockies twice on back-to-back games. Rockies return the favor there to open up the series.
I do want to dive obviously very, very deeply into what we saw from Germán Márquez yesterday in just a moment. And there are a lot of players actually that we need to highlight, and we'll have 20th and plays for everybody here in a minute, and we'll do all of that. Somebody, though, who I just want to make sure we don't leave out because didn't manage to make it on the graphics. He's getting absolutely jobbed by DNVR today, which is terrible because he's a fan of the podcast. He's been on several times. Jon Gray didn't manage to make our 20th and Blaze today. Doesn't manage to be king of the game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But after giving up the 2 early runs and you thought, oh, no, are we in for a real rough one after he looked so good his first outing back from the IL, manages to go 6 and really just will himself into a quality start out there today. And that can't go unnoticed.
No, it can. And it also, it's for anyone who keeping tabs on box scores today, there was a wild game in Milwaukee where the Cubs were up 7-0. Brewers come back 15-7. And you kind of forget the fact that like someone had to be in there to pitch and to hold the Cubs offense kind of at bay. So sure, Aaron Ashby didn't do great in his debut, but Miguel Sanchez came in, pitched in. He gave up some runs, and that allowed the offense to do their thing. And that's what Jon Gray did, where he gave up, the early triple, gave up a hit to Reynolds. And those are the only 2 hits he gave up until he came out. Yeah, he walked 4 guys by the end, but he kept the team in the game. Anytime you get 2 runs from your starting pitcher at home at Coors Field, it doesn't matter when you gave them up. So he really kind of, again, if you're just barely tuning in and listening to the game, you hear, he wasn't commanding the strike zone terribly well. But again, 2 hits, only 2 runs, and, still got a big Rockies victory today. So your hat has to be off to him. And, coming on the heels of what Germán Márquez was able to do on Tuesday night, it's like, oh, man, hey, good try. Good try.
Good way to go.
6 innings, 2 earned runs. That's fantastic.
I think, too, it speaks to his growth as a pitcher. I mean, in the past, I feel like a start like that early in a game would really affect you know, the rest of the game. And he might have made some like more mental errors on top of that. So overall, to see him kind of lock it down, not let those two early runs get to him, I think honestly speaks to, you know, his growth as a pitcher and the way that he's improved both mentally and physically in the game.
Yeah, it's something I think we've seen from him specifically, and then we've talked about it with other pitchers that have come in here this year and had great stuff all year, but they can't quite find it, especially early in the game, and they let it maybe spiral a little further out of hand than it should. It runs them from the game a little sooner, or if not, if it's Brandon Woodruff where he gets it back, but he's already given up 5, right, as opposed to the 2. And that's what Jon Gray has figured out in his career, how to make sure that 2 doesn't turn into the 5, especially at Coors Field. And so, yeah, really, really remarkable stuff. I did not think after that first, especially after the first 3 batters, you didn't think, oh, he's going 6 innings, 2 earned today. You thought, yeah, this is going to get ugly. In the bullpen, and I guess those would be the other unsung heroes before we get into the sung heroes of the series here. The bullpen, none of those guys were able to make 20th and Blaze either in that first game when Freeland had to come out with the cramps. 4 innings, no runs given up, some of the best they've looked all season. And then you got a nice, some scary moments there for Bard still at the end. It's not.
Hey, he got 2 saves this series, so
yeah.
I'm happy. Well, I guess technically wouldn't necessarily be a save, but he did close out. He did close out today.
Victory.
He secured the victory. He didn't blow it, which is all I care about.
He didn't blow.
But yeah, I mean, it's refreshing because he's been struggling as well. So definitely a huge shout out to the bullpen this series. They have been the Achilles heel of this team all season long. So, to finally get a performance that's commendable from the bullpen is something that is nice and refreshing, something that you definitely want to see. But also, too, I would be remiss to point out the fact that today was win number 50 for Mr. Jon Gray in a Rockies uniform. Congratulations, yes. Jon Gray. Number 50. That's a big milestone to have. Yeah. So congratulations to him.
We may need to create a new statistic for Daniel Bard. So we've got he had 1 S, right? He had 1 save and he had 1 DB. No, not for Daniel Bard. Didn't blow it.
Didn't blow it.
He got 1 DB, 1 S and 1 DB. Put it in the books. Good job, Daniel. Good job, Bard. Kind of back on track a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Makayla, on the 50th win. Just nice remembrance of just the stalwart that Jon Gray has turned himself into for this franchise. All that being said, John, we give you all the love, man. We did it right after everything else that happened too. But let us toast our Breck brews and our Breck Saltsies, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still on Strava Craft coffee hours, toast what you have. Raise to the roof.
It's 5 p.m.
I don't know what the hell time. Hey, some people drink coffee all day, every day. I'll tell you what.
It's also Wednesday, so I think you push it back an hour maybe. So it's like 6 o'clock, whatever you got to tell yourself is fine as long as it's a Strava or a Breck brew, whatever you got to tell yourself.
I got my my black cherry, or is it just, black cherry hard seltzy from Good Company right now. Drinking on those. Because I'm all out of IPAs, but that's okay. I'll get more, and I'll get them down at the King Supers or at a local liquor store. One place I know where I can get them, and I get a much bigger one because, believe it or not, I am a member of the DNVR family. You get one down at the bar, much larger one. If you're a member of the family, do that. Become a member of the family today at the DNVR.com. Get access to all the written content, the bigger beer, the access to the Discord channel, and we'll send you a free shirt from the DNVR Locker and a free holistic stick from our friends at Holistic Wellness. Check them out, HOLISTIK wellness.com, and use promo code DNVR30 to get 30% off once you've got your free one. And our guy Mark here in the comments saying it's still 4 p.m. here, only getting the vanilla Brecks out there. If you don't mind me sharing a little bit, I was super stoked to meet Mark at the DNVR bar here recently. And if you don't mind me sharing again, he plugged the Breck Brews. He said, I always kind of thought, I get it. It's a sponsor. You guys, you're selling your beer. I get it, and I figured I'd try them. I'm come to the bar. I'm going to do the whole experience. I was like, man, they're really good. I thought you guys were just saying that. I was like, no, yeah. He's like, it's really good beer. So yeah, we weren't lying. It's good stuff.
It is good beer.
And unfortunately, not all of our sponsors are there at the DNVR bar. So, and that might be a good thing because if you sit at a bar stool, don't expect someone to come over and, be prodding around in your mouth with some, metal pieces of equipment and checking your teeth at Green Mountain Dental. We do draw a line, so do keep that in mind. It will be nothing invasive. Yeah.
I think I can guarantee that Dr. Ben would still make a way to find that enjoyable if that were the case.
That's right.
I mean, that could be the dividing line of like, look, we can only have sponsors that we can actually have at the bar. We've got the Strava. We've got Hassel Cattle Company. Dr. Ben will come down and check you out. Just let him know an hour in advance. He'll swing on down. Don't worry.
The Chevaliers will swing by, do some in-bar consultings. That's always when you want to make your decisions about buying and selling homes and stuff too, is when you're down at the bar. Sure, Mike and Virginia would appreciate that.
If there's a property within walking distance, you can check off that box too.
There are a lot of them, and I'm looking to find one here pretty soon. But hey, someone who was looking to find that no-hitter, that elusive no-hitter, came again for the second time in his career, just the one hit shy, of course, Germán Márquez. And I submit to the both of you, because I actually went back and found this article, and I'm going to write the sequel to the article that I wrote in 2019. I'm about halfway through its predecessor here, because in 2019, when Márquez threw his one-hitter in San Francisco, I posited at the time that despite the fact that Ubaldo Jimenez has thrown a no-hitter, that game was probably the best pitched game in Colorado Rockies history. And I submit for further conversation on this day that what Germán Márquez did in Game 2 on Tuesday evening at Coors Field against the Pittsburgh Pirates was the best pitched game in Colorado Rockies history. That one damn single from Kai Tom be damned, I think that might have been it.
It was very dominant. I mean, that's his strikeout numbers weren't, that's the thing. He wasn't getting the strikeouts for that dominant, but it didn't matter. You knew there was something going on. You knew there was something special. It had all of the trademark characteristics of a no-hitter with some solid defensive plays. The big one, I think, in my book was the Trevor Story play, which, the face of it, you just go, oh, he jumped really high. Again, you go back, watch that clip, actually see the vert that he got on it, how it really was. It wasn't a snow cone, but it was at the top of his mitt, compounded with what Baseball Savant had that as his expected batting average of 620. So that was, a big play. That was a ball that most guys, when they hit that's a base hit just about anywhere. And you see Story, his reaction to sold it, where he was like, yeah, okay, let me bring it back together. Let me bring it in. Márquez, again, put his hat over his heart. There was something really special there in that moment. And yeah, sure, it didn't finish out the way we would have liked. It up to that point, it had all of the trademark stuff. And I don't know that Freeland's game had that. Was there that big play in the Freeland start back in July of 2017 against the White Sox? Not that I can remember.
Right.
But it did go longer. It did go one more batter longer than Márquez was able to go.
So is the claim here that it's the best pitched game in Rockies history or best pitched game at Coors Field?
Right. So those are two major elements of this whole thing, right?
Right. Because if it's the best pitched game at Coors Field, 100% agree. But
Rockies pitcher.
By Rockies pitcher, right, okay. Right. By Rockies pitcher.
A lot of qualifiers.
Right.
Obviously,
on a Tuesday night.
Obviously, Ubaldo's no-hitter is still going to be the best, in my opinion. It holds a special place in my heart. It was so cool to finally see the Rockies get a no-hitter. It's the only no-hitter in team history. But obviously, that didn't take place at Coors Field. So you can have those two exist.
Dudes.
Yes, there were a lot of walks in that game. Which, I mean, I think Germán didn't get a strikeout until the third inning?
Yeah. He didn't have the strikeout stuff going as much.
It was the fourth inning, so he didn't get a strikeout until the fourth inning. But I mean, you kind of already touched on it. The defense that was behind him was phenomenal. He still managed like 12 groundouts until he got that strikeout. I think something like that. Yeah, just something crazy. So, the defense behind him was spectacular, even though, he didn't get that first strikeout to the fourth inning. But it was incredible. And the best part is the pace of the game was moving. I think that game only took like 2 hours and 18 minutes, which was great.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say it's really funny what it all depends on like what constitutes for you like the best pitched game, right?
Yeah.
Like to Patrick's point, like Freeland maybe didn't need quite as much help from his defense, but he also labored quite a bit more throughout that game. There's a reason he didn't finish his. That's the big mark on Freeland is once he gave up the hit, you could see he was gassed. Melky Cabrera kind of
rookie too, right? You have to protect him in that spot.
Yeah.
So you didn't necessarily need that. It's like, kid, you're going to have bigger moments ahead of you. And he absolutely did. And he's absolutely, pitched well in those big moments, right. 2018 wildcard game, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't need any of the big defensive help, but that said, he like nibbled all game, ended up with an elevated pitch count, couldn't finish, all of those things. Where Marquez gets the Greg Maddux, right? The complete game shutout in under 100 pitches.
92, that's right.
In the game. So his pitch efficiency, despite the fact that he didn't get the strikeout. So Jon Gray has the game at Coors Field where he struck out 16 San Diego Padres, a record that he broke a Randy Johnson record of most strikeouts in Coors Field history. Also a complete game shutout, but 4 singles. None of them hit especially well. The defense just happens to be positioned differently on that day. Maybe that's the best game in Coors Field history. And then the other thing about the Ubaldo one that, of course, I know things people like to bring up in no-hitters and perfect games and all this stuff. And I think the thing that holds up best for Ubaldo, despite the fact that he let people get to like second base a couple of times, where like nobody threatened in either of these Marquez games when he was in San Francisco or last night, like nobody even believed they were going to get to second base. Even Kai Tom, after that single in the 9th, was immediately erased on a very easy double play.
Yeah.
But Ubaldo faced an extraordinarily talented Atlanta Braves lineup that featured a couple of Hall of Famers, a couple of perennial All-Stars, a couple of batting champs. I think that team had a combined like OPS plus of 117 walking into that game. So Ubaldo took on like Brian McCann, Chipper Jones, and a couple other, like I'm trying to remember who else, really good players. And this, of course, was against the
Pirates.
But
also, not only was he great on the mound, but he hit 2 doubles.
Yeah.
He hit 2 doubles. He had an RBI. I mean, he was offensively contributing to the team, which was so cool to watch, which is why I don't want the universal DH. Hashtag pitchers who rake.
Get out of here.
It was so cool.
24 hours earlier. What happened with Freeland? What did we talk about? Oh my God.
I know. No, you were pro DH just because you don't want to see pitchers get hurt.
If you were an article of clothing, you would be a flip-flop. Okay? What? Come on.
That is false. That is false. The only reason I've ever said that I wanted a DH was because I hate watching pitchers go up there and just take 4 balls and just
which most of them
3
do.
Strikes and just get striked out. Yeah, like that bothers me. But other than that, I love watching pitchers try to hit. It's
other
hilarious.
Than 95% of the plate appearances.
Oh, whatever.
Fantastic.
Let's not get into an argument about universal DH. All I'm trying to say is Germán Márquez, way to go, dude. You almost had a no-hitter and you hit 2 doubles and you drove in a run. That is amazing. I absolutely love to see that.
And that almost like tips the scales where you said it's the best game played rather than pitched by a Rockies player who threw a shutout of all time in a stadium still active. Ubaldo Jimenez, of course, did it at Turner Field, which is no longer active. So you throw in that little caveat. Okay, Germán Márquez, you've got the greatest.
Not having to watch the bullpen play was like reason enough for me to be like, this is incredible. Thank you, Germán, for saving us from having to watch the bullpen pitch. God bless you. But I mean, that performance was incredible. He has looked so good this season. And through his last 3 starts, he's only given up 4 hits and 1 run in 22 innings. So
boy,
he has just been lights out on the mound, which is so great to see. Again, it's awesome to watch. Like it's so weird to see this rotation do so well in this type of season, because I feel like a lot of their performance gets overshadowed by a lot of the negative things that are happening with the team. But I mean, come on, this starting rotation is phenomenal. And Germán Márquez is that dude. His performances have been incredible.
And going back to that stat with the 23 innings, only one run, which was a home run, oddly enough.
22 innings.
And 4 hits, 23 innings.
Oh.
Only 3 guys have ever done it. Marquez, Rube Markard, who is a Hall of Famer, and Johnny Vandermeer, who is in the Hall of pretty darn good, threw back-to-back no-hitters.
The most
and Marquez is the third guy in that group.
Because no one will ever throw 3 consecutive no-hitters. Someone could tie Vandermeer, but no one will ever break that record.
Yeah. He looked fantastic. And then even like after the game, just that was the most exciting post-game Zoom we've had in a while. Everyone was feeling good. Again, if you were to sit in on it, you would have thought he completed the no-hitter. Just the way Buddy was smiling, just feeling good. Marquez was like, wow, I did it. But he didn't do it. And he was aware that, like, no, I'll get it. I'll get it done. I'm going to throw a no-hitter.
Yeah.
And you've got the confidence that he's going to do, because he thought he was going to have that this time. He thought he was going to have that Tuesday night based on his previous start. Remember, he had to get lifted because of cramps, and he ended up batting in the bottom of the inning, and had to get pulled early. So he's been on the precipice of this for a little while now. And again, just to see them post game, they were so excited. And Buddy even said in that final at bat, like, yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, don't hit another double. Like, just get out. We just saw what happened with Kyle Freeland running to 2 different bases, going from first to third, right? And Marquez, after the game, very nonchalantly, it was just like, yeah, why not? I wanted to get a third double. Like,
trying to hit another double.
Why couldn't I? And again, you see Shohei Ohtani doing all this stuff, who will be pitching tonight in a little bit in New York. That's must-see television.
Yeah.
And you go, hey, this stuff is possible. This stuff is possible. And if you take care of your body the right way, which is easier said than done. That's not to say Rockies pitchers and players haven't done that, because we see it on both sides. We see it on the visiting side too. Guys coming up with cramps and heat exhaustion and all that. But it is possible. And Germán Márquez is showing that a Rockies pitcher can throw a no-hitter at Coors Field, and I do believe he will be the first.
It's funny to think what a difference that dinky, stupid little single to right from a 147 hitter on a knuckle curve that just hung a tiny little bit, that if he throws any other pitch there, if he buries that curveball or he throws a slider or a fastball or a changeup,
don't say his name. He's another one. The cousin and the guy batting 129. Okay. We don't talk about those guys.
I always
by their
think
name.
Somebody is messing up a spoonerization of Ty Cobb. Every time someone says his name, I think Kai Tobb.
Interesting.
Kai.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds weird in my brain every time they say.
We have to call the one guy who we'll see tomorrow. By the way, keep in mind, St. Louis Cardinals coming to town for a 4-game set. Rockies in 4.
I don't remember.
But we call him the cousin, whereas the other guy, that 129 hitter, I don't think we're going to have a problem not mentioning him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Again, better athlete than all of us combined, but still, man, he is my least favorite Pirates player now of all time.
I always wonder, like, what goes through their heads when that happens. Like, they obviously know
when you break up a no-hitter?
Right,
or the pitcher?
Well, both. But mostly in this situation of, like, the hitter that just broke it up. Like, obviously you know what's happening. Like, you're paying attention to the game, so you know you're getting no hit. So, you're in the 9th inning, and this guy's only a couple outs away from getting a no-hitter, and you are the person that breaks it up, and you're like, when you get to the base and you're standing there, like, what's going through your head? Like, well, I'm glad our team didn't get a no-hit, but, like, do they feel bad? Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be such, like, a hard – because, like, they're baseball players. Like, they know how hard it is to get a no-hitter. Like, they know how much it would mean to the pitcher. And then, they're obviously not winning that game. They're down 8 runs. So, what is the point of getting a hit at that in the 9th inning? Like, you're not going to win this game. Right. So, like, I don't know. I just want to know what goes through their head.
Interesting, yeah.
We talked during the pandemic. One of the things we did was talk about a lot of our favorite baseball movies. And one that I think Patrick and I have always loved and appreciated, that's got kind of a weird reputation among baseball movies, is the For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner, right? because it's actually like 2/3 of romantic drama and 1/3 a baseball movie. But the third that's a baseball movie is really good. And he's the whole thing is he's throwing the perfect game, right? And I think it's the very last batter. They bring in some rookie to face him. And Vin Scully actually is the voice, the play-by-play during this game. And he starts explaining that the reason for it might be that the rookie wouldn't fully understand the gravity of the situation, that he's just going up there trying to get a hit, trying to do whatever, trying to prove himself, maybe trying to do a little ego thing he cares more about. Whereas a veteran of the game who's got 1,500 or 2,000 at bats, in Major League Baseball, and somebody who might be a little more in awe of the moment and might not come up. I think that's very much to your point. You and Vin Scully making the same observation about what is it like to be that player, especially when you're a young player.
Yeah. I always think about that though. I don't know why, but I just have the weirdest, like random thoughts at random times. But it's like, I always think about what goes through their heads. Like when you're the person that breaks up the no-hitter, when you're the pitcher that just lost the no-hitter, when you're like, if you're, playing the infield and like, let's say like you made an error and then a guy, I guess that technically wouldn't count as a hit, but whatever, you know what I'm trying to say?
You cost the guy a
like,
perfect
game. Yeah. Like what happens, when I feel like there's so much pressure when you're in the infield too, or just, I guess, playing any defensive position while a no-hitter is going on, because you don't want to be that guy that like ruins the no-hitter. I don't know. I want to know these
That's why these guys are professionals, and to your point, Drew, this idea of like a veteran kind of being aware of the situation, it's kind of like, a grooving a fastball right down in the middle of the plate. So a guy you respect hits a home run and his final game, before he retires. But that one at bat, like you said, they're not going to win the game, right? It was 8-0 at that point, Tacos. And you go like, so what's the point? Well, for this guy, again, hitting 129, that could have been his final at bat in the majors. That one at bat could have meant everything. Could have been the difference. Think back a couple years ago. In fact, in 2019, I think was when the lawsuit came out. But pitcher for the Dodgers, Mike Bolsinger, who he sued the Astros after the whole sign stealing scheme came out. And again, I think it was totally dismissed out of court, and you understand it. And maybe that was just a shot in the dark. But he said, "Man, I got knocked around, pretty badly, and couldn't really make it back to the majors." And that was all because of that game and for the opposing team stealing. And so how one performance on any given day maybe is the difference between a coach saying, yeah, let's send this guy down. And who knows, you may never get back to the show, or you start a streak, you start something special and get things going, and maybe change how, the dynamics of the clubhouse, and you maybe become this kind of quiet leader or something like that. You just never know. And that's why you go from game to game, you go from pitch to pitch, and you just got to do what you can to stay alive, even if that means breaking some hearts of people in the Rocky Mountain region, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and I don't ever want it to sound like I'm suggesting that like at that point they should just like not try to get a hit and just like be non-competitive, because nobody wants to watch like a non-competitive baseball game, regardless if there's like a no-hitter going or not. Right. Obviously, that's not what they're there to do. They're there to compete. They're there to try to get a hit. And also, too, if you get to that point and guys are just like, oh, well, I don't want to break this up, then that takes away the specialness of getting a no-hitter, because then it becomes less difficult. And the whole point of getting a no-hitter is that it's really, really hard to do. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm suggesting like, oh, he should have just not hit it. Like, of course, like hit the ball.
There's a bunch of interesting, weird fine lines there, though, right? Because like some people think you don't bunt in that situation, and I've never been one of those people either. For me, it's like I'm again back to what Patrick said. I got to get my hits. I got to get my whatever. Speaking as again, this I'm going to use this analogy in both ways, because I really thought Germán Márquez's reaction when he lost it, speaking on the other side of what's going through your mind, was really interesting. I felt like I would have been more angry at losing a no-hitter in MLB The Show, and then I would have like yelled and screamed and like been very demonstrative, and he just had this look on his face like, yep, oops, oops, damn, okay. And he knew he wasn't going to allow any more, too. You could see him just turn around and go, oops, shouldn't have thrown that pitch. And then,
you threw like 4 more pitches?
Yeah. The game was over, and a minute and a half later, it was like he knew that he just let one slip out of his hand, and that was going to cost him. He said, yep, that's why it's hard to get back to Makayla's point.
Yeah.
That's why it's so damn hard to get one. But even if he'd have bunted there, I'd have been like, hey, fine. That's a part of the game. But
if anybody knows me, they know how starkly I am against the unwritten rules of baseball. So I completely agree that logic is stupid. If you're gonna bunt, then just bunt the ball.
And
but
you don't want to get no hit. It sucks. There's that other side of it where you're just like, no, not on us. Do this on someone. We'll root for history when you're playing someone else, buddy.
Yep, exactly.
It was also cool after the game, and Nick Groh kind of pointed this out, is that after the game, guys were able to just full on hug each other and celebrate like normal times. Again, as this reminder that, if you're careful and you're cautious and you do what you're supposed to do and you're a good boy or girl or good person, you can reap those rewards. And it was just really nice for them to be able to celebrate in that fashion. And I think that was something that kind of permeated throughout the clubhouse and down on the field. Is this, this thing of like, yeah, wow, things are normal, as abnormal as it is for the Rockies again to be dominating, to be sweeping at home and all that stuff, and have a guy take a no-hitter into the ninth. Man, it was really cool for them to be able to celebrate that, not have to worry, and just be like, wow, can you believe what we were a part of tonight? And that actually would have been the first, for my research, that would have been the first time that I believe Bud Black would have been on the winning side of a no-hitter. Yeah, he was a pitcher during his career, so he's obviously not at fault. But Dave Stieb threw one against him. Kevin Gross, I think when he was in San Francisco, there was a one or two other ones out there even when he was with the Angels. So I don't think he'd ever been on the winning side of a no-hitter, and even though he still hasn't, kind of bridge that gap, man, he was in such a good mood last night, and it was cool to see that just the whole team feeling good back at home. And you can kind of even see it a little bit when they're on the road of like, look, it is what it is. Yeah. Sure, maybe we only win one out of these 5 games like they did last week, and we'll see what happens when they go on the road next week to Arizona. There's a great place to go on the road too.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, maybe we don't get the results as far as wins go, but we're feeling good. We're playing well. We're competitive, and we're not getting the crap beat out of us. I think, as crazy as it might sound, those days may be behind them.
I always thought it was. Yeah, that's why early in the season I never ran away with any of the. It's like they're young and inexperienced. So you know what's happening right now? They're getting experienced real hard, life lessons being taught to them by other really good Major League Baseball players. And that's part of what happens. But
the crazy part is if they weren't as bad as they are on the road, they would be a good baseball team.
Yeah.
If they weren't as bad as they were, they'd be good. Yeah. Makayla, you summed it up so perfectly. If they weren't so bad, they'd be so good.
I know. But honestly, though, the road games are what's killing them. They're a really good team when they're at home, and it just sucks to see that all of their performances and hard work that shows what kind of team that they can be at home is kind of diminished by their performances on the road.
More than halfway through the season, they've only lost 16 games at home, and you're like, oh, so they're a good baseball team, right? Yeah. It's the Princess Leia Anakin meme. So they're a good baseball team, right? Right? It was like, no.
It was the same. It was like I saw a thing the other day where, when they were on this last road trip, their starting rotation had a 1.55 ERA through like 23 innings, and they still lost all those games.
Yeah. They even the starting pitching was really good on the road and all that. But to put a final bow on the Márquez thing, it's wild to me that dinky little hit takes what was probably, it would have been a top 10 moment in Colorado Rockies history, and in competition for the number 1 moment in Rockies history that wasn't related to the postseason, or even like you could even just say 2007, probably. Yeah. Like if you could just take out the year 2007, that was close to being. Because if Germán Márquez throws a no-hitter at Coors, then step aside Ubaldo. There's no debate whatsoever. Right. Yeah. It's a no-no. It's at Coors. It's the only one a Rocky has ever thrown there. It's the only one anyone other than Hideo Nomo who nobody could hit for 2 years because he threw the ball from behind his head. It didn't make any sense, and nobody understood it. You know, and he was right. What, just like you said after the game, just bury that pitch or something. Damn it, because it's that much of a difference between greatest moment in Rockies history and a really nice, great game that we're all going to remember very fondly.
One pitch away. Yeah. One pitch away.
Well, sometimes it gets just that close, folks, and sometimes you need it just that close. That's why you got to get Manscaped. They get you nice and close. Get it up there, get it zipped up, get it tight, and also, trick, I've been told, works for the ladies too. Life hack, hey, get Manscaped, get Ladiescaped. They don't call it that, but it absolutely works. Get it at manscaped.com. Use the discount code DNVR. You'll get 20% off. I'm sorry, DNVR 20. You'll get free shipping and 20% off. Get yourself that lawnmower 4.0, some spritzer, some nice smelling deodorants, some really comfortable boxers, whatever you got to get yourself taken care of. There is no excuse not to be Manscaped in the year 2021. So get it done and use promo code DNVR20 for free shipping plus 20% off. And also, that'll put a big old smile on your face and the face of anybody who's taking care of you. And you want to also make sure that everyone's smiles involved the best they can absolutely be. They can be best by taking a look over at our friends at Green Mountain Dental Group, located just 15 minutes outside of downtown Denver. They'll hook you up with a free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule your cleaning, x-ray, and exam today. They'll treat you like family. They'll talk to you about sports. They'll give you absolutely expertise dental care. I feel like sometimes I forget to mention. I always mention like the environment. Like they treat you nice and they make you feel comfortable and they talk to you about sports and they give you the free Sonicare, but also they take care of your teeth extraordinarily well. It's the most important thing. So do check them out today at Green Mountain Dental Group. And last one here for you at this point. If you're having fun riding along with the hot streak that the Colorado Rockies are on, the hot streak that our guy Patrick Lyons is on. Hopefully you've been following his heater at DraftKings Sportsbook. Oh, goodness. Dog is excited about the heater at DraftKings Sportsbook, also making some money, getting in on these bets. Whether it's who's going to get a hit, who's going to get a home run, the overs, the unders, the strikeouts, who's going to get a no-hitter at Coors Field. Can they not? Are you not allowed to lay that down? Can you imagine what the bet would be?
$4 billion.
Plus, yeah. So maybe not quite that, but just about anything else that makes it a whole lot more fun. Whether you're still paying attention to the NBA or not, if you are new to sign up, just pick a team to win. Lay down $1. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up, and you'll turn it into $100 in free credits if they win the game. Bet on that basketball team of your choice to win their next game. If they do, that's right, you claim $100 in free credits for just $1 down. It's promo code DNVR for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. What is this note Will has? Okay. There's another one of these baseball stats. I'm going to read it one word at a time. There has not been a 9-inning no-hitter thrown at home by any pitcher from a Denver team, even dating back to the Denver Bears era. There we go. There was a 7-inning no-hitter, but no one has ever thrown 9 innings of no-hit baseball as the home member of a Denver team. So, missed it by that much. All right, let's highlight some other ball players and do a little bit of 20th and Blaze. And actually, we can double up on these graphics here, can't we? Because isn't the guy who's 5th on 20th and Blaze also our draft king of the game?
He would be. That's Mr. Garrett Hampson. He's our DraftKings Sportsbook.
The hamster.
King of the game, or as Jack Corrigan called him, the Hampinator. That was a new one. He went 4 for 5, was 4 for 4 with a double there going into that final at bat, and really put some good wood on the ball, actually, in that 5th one. Sent it back far. Didn't get it, didn't fall in, but 4 for 5 with 2 RBI, some good defense there at second base. Did a good job at the top of the order, filling in for the dagger, filling in for Jonathan Daza there, pairing nicely with Tapia. scoring a pair of runs. And again, just overall getting them into the game, getting them, back into the game a little bit. Well, yeah, they were down 2-0 early. Nevertheless, he was kind of the catalyst for a lot of those early runs after Cron hit that home run. So he's been playing really well over the course of the last week plus. So he starts out at number 5 for us there on 20th and Blaze.
Yeah, I like the play he had that didn't count. That was maybe my favorite thing that happened. It just reminds you of his elite level speed when they forgot for just a moment in the shift for Charlie Blackmon to not have anybody on third base. Mm-hmm. And he took off in a foot race with the third baseman, Brian Hayes, and beat him there. And then the throw skipped away a little bit, and he came in to score the run that then they said the time had been called by Charlie at the plate. But still, it was like one of those, talk about manufacturing a run, dude. Yeah, and first hit of the game being the swinging bunt variety just reminds you. And again, as the broadcast was pointing out, and as we've talked about here on the show, we're starting to realize more and more that Garrett Hampson really can handle left-handed pitching just extraordinarily well. He's hitting over 300 against lefties. That has not been his issue. It's definitely been the righties, but when he does get the ball in play, lots of great things happen for him. Did today. Fun to see.
It's his third career 4-hit game, and since June 2nd, he's batting .487 with 5 doubles, 1 triple, 1 home run. I mean, come on, kid. That's awesome. Good for him. I
mean, he's not playing as much, and a lot of that, I've seen people comparing his stats to other people, and look, the Rockies have figured out when and where and how to play him a little bit better, and that's good. There's nothing against Hampson, but he hasn't quite yet proven that he can be an everyday, all-the-time player, but when put in the right spots, he can maximize his value, and those players are really important for you, and it's important for your management and your coaching staff to do that. So good on everyone involved there for finding the right way to get the most out of Hampson.
Coming in at 4th and 20th and Blaze, CJ Cron. He had the big first home run today. Was a little bit quiet over the last week or so, but today had that big breakout that kind of was, again, another no-doubter for a slider that didn't really slide too much there as it went out over left field. So good on CJ Cron, getting it going, providing that veteran leadership they really were anticipating him providing here in the first half of the season.
Yeah, it's his 11th home run of the season, and 9 of his 11 homers have come at Coors Field, with 5 of them coming from the last 9 games. So like Patrick was saying, he's heating up. He's providing that veteran leadership that we needed in that locker room, and he is back on track.
Love to see the power stroke one way or the other. It's fun. Like you said, when a guy makes a mistake, Croner's not going away and getting that changeup low and away and lofting it into right field for a nice little base hit very often. That's not the kind of at bat you're getting out of him these days. He's hitting mistakes, but guys make mistakes. You don't want to make one to him. So
I hope you're right, Makayla. This is like the start of him breaking out as he was 0 for 15 going into this game. Played really well in Seattle. And again, we are going back and not just talking about a single series, and we're going back a little bit further than that. He did have that big home run in Seattle. So this could be the start of him. He does have those hot streaks, and it usually does start with a homer, much like this. So good call. I think that's a great prediction. Number 3 is Mr. Elias Diaz, the receiver there for Germán Márquez's one hitter. He's actually been hitting the ball pretty well, has 2 home runs over the last week plus, and has lifted his average quite a lot since it was as low as you could possibly get. Nice way of putting it.
Only one direction to go there.
Yeah, he can smash the ball. When he does make contact with the ball, it's usually a big one. And we always talk about the pitchers in these no-hitter situations, obviously and deservedly so, but they are equally a little less equally as special for the people who are catching those no-hitters. It's a team effort, especially with that catcher and pitcher tandem. And Elias obviously did a good job of calling pitches, knowing which pitches to call at what point, and definitely helped contribute to that outstanding effort by Germán Márquez. Again, awesome. You love to see that type of stuff.
He's got a nice little 4-game hit streak for the last 4 games that he started, homers in 2 consecutive, and he goes out and does that against the team that cast him off.
I was going to say,
was with the Pirates for about 4 seasons,
and
team. So when you're going to have that game, shoot, that's pretty darn good. He said in the post game that he had never actually caught a no-hitter at any level of the majors. So man, that would have been nice for him, but it was good that he got close with his fellow Venezuelan in Germán Márquez.
Yeah. And the home run in game 1, which was a 2-0 game, that ended up being close. And the other run was kind of a fun and weird and interesting manufactured one where Freeland got on base. Tapia replaced him on the fielder's choice, which was incredibly beneficial because then Daza hits a ball down the line or in the gap. And the only way that Tapia and Hampson are the only guys on the team that are going to score a run there and let Daza get to third if Freeland had still been on first. So that was really their cleanest run in that first game, was the home run from Diaz. To see him get a couple here. Didn't play in the third game. It was a Nuñez game. So he homered in every game he played against his former team here at home. And like you said, Patrick, caught a real nice one for his buddy Germán Márquez. Nice to see that. First time Elias Diaz is really, and honestly, we had to get him on there. He's had a very rough season, as we talked. Yep. We all know what he's gone through this year. It's been rough. First time he's come anywhere close to being on 20th in plays, and well earned, I say.
I agree.
Love it. All right, number 2, Flat Stanley himself, Mr. Kyle Freeland. After his fantastic performance on Monday, he's probably going to – hopefully he's treated himself to some pickle juice since then to kind of reduce that cramping. But he's been pretty good over the last week. 2 starts, 11 innings pitched, only gave up 1 earned run, did get a victory. Strikeout numbers are going up. Walks are going down. He has been really solid and finally kind of figuring it out since coming off the IL at the beginning of the month. And you got to say, all right, hey, he had his spring training at the major league level. Now he's ready to rock and ready to go. And you hope that he can continue that. And I think he can. We'll get another start here in Colorado against St. Louis on Saturday against a former teammate of his. And I like the odds of that continuing to go well for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, he's definitely on the best type of trajectory, which is improving upon improving. And, we didn't really know what we were going to get with him when he came off the injured list. Obviously he had that incredible season in 2018 and then struggled a little bit after that, up and down in the minors, had a little minor stint. So, you didn't really know what you were going to be getting this season with Kyle Freeland, especially coming off of an injury. So to see him doing so well and continually improving on his starts is obviously nothing but positive and what you want to see from someone in his position. So I definitely agree that he is going to be able to continue to build upon those starts and hopefully just keep improving this season and, kind of proving us or most people that, he can compete at this level and be consistent at this level, which is, I think, what we all want to see out of Kyle Freeland is just consistency.
Absolutely. And who could possibly be at number 1, Patrick?
That would be Mr. Germán Márquez. Fantastic one-hitter. Don't forget, he did have some really good performances out on the road. He's helped lower his ERA. I think since somewhere in the early part of June, he's lowered it just about nearly an entire run. He has been fantastic. He may become the Rockies lone all-star. We'll see. Maybe they couldn't possibly sneak a second one in there. But he's making the case now to do that as he has lowered his season-long ERA to 3.62. In his last 5 starts at Coors Field since May 21st, 35 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Yes, wow. That's a point. Anytime your ERA starts with a point, it's pretty good. 0.77 ERA, 0.40 whip. He's not even allowing guys on base. Incredible. Unbelievable.
Goodness gracious.
This is the Germán Márquez I have wanted to see all season long. This is the ace pitcher that we have all wanted to see from Germán Márquez. The season got off to a bit of a bumpy start, is kind of just okay for a little bit there. And now this is the type of stuff that you want to see from the ace of your team. He has really delivered and done so in a way that has maximized his starts. So I don't know what else you could really ask for from the guy. He's locking it down. He's the ace that the Rockies need him to be.
Yeah. Over his last, I just lost it. I had his 10 games. I was going to do the 10 games because remember 11 games ago was the one where he gave up 8 runs in the first inning. So we don't want to talk about that.
He still had that bad one against Cincinnati too. So that does include that in there as well.
So including that bad game in Cincinnati, he's pitched 10 games. The Rockies are 7-3 in those games. He's got a 2.32 ERA. Opponents are hitting 185, on basing 253, and slugging just 288. That's an OPS of 533 against Germán Márquez over his last 66 innings pitched.
I wonder, and I again haven't looked at all the other pitchers in MLB, and there's been some guys just locking it down, and they've been doing it just every single start. So we'll see.
Jacob DeGrom.
But yeah, I think he's pretty good. But for the month of June, Márquez is 4-1 with a 2.41 ERA, 32 strikeouts to 9 walks, and you got to think he's in the running for pitcher of the month, right? Yeah. So there's a potential, and even better than that. Well, about the same as that. If you're looking for some interesting angles on the season for him in night games, he has a 2.47 ERA. Batters are only hitting 175 against him. So during the day, 4.84.
Hot day games with the ball flies.
Yeah. Pitch him at night.
I like that. All right. I'm down with it.
Although his next start, I think, will be a day game on Sunday, 4th of July.
There's been a lot of day games. It's messed him up. I'm blaming the schedule makers for all of it.
He has actually pitched he's pitched in more day games than night games. 9 day games to 8 night games, which I'd be curious to find out if actually that was maybe the most in MLB. That's a curious one.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, let's get into a few thoughts on the Cardinals series coming up here. But before we do that, we've got to remind you about our friends, the Colorado XOs, out there playing some rugby, doing the thing, making it happen. You got to get in. It's a whole lot of fun. They've got a Rugby Town Sevens tournament coming up in August. A lot of fun stuff going on out at Infinity Park. Whether you're into rugby or you just like sports and you think you might maybe be into rugby, I highly recommend you give it a chance. You give it an opportunity. Check out Colton Strickler and the DNVR Rugby podcast. Follow them on Twitter. Follow that podcast. Get all caught up with everything that's going on out there. They're doing a lot of fun things, including a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse showing at July 12th out there at Infinity Park. So if you just want to get out to the beautiful place and check it out and then realize, I've got to see some rugby here. This place is amazing. Do that. Check the Infinity Park calendar. Where is it at? I don't have the Infinity. Find the Infinity Park calendar. Go there. There is all kinds of fantastic stuff there. And also, if you're someone out there looking to get recruited by the Colorado XOs, you got to contact their director of recruitment, Peter Pasquet, at ppasque@glendale.us.co.us. Sorry, there's 2 of them in there, and the way it's broken up on here looks terrible. I gotta rewrite that, or at least move that. But do check them out, man. Rugby's a whole lot of fun. Infinity Park is an awesome place to take in a game.
They just did a pretty cool draft on their podcast where they just took athletes, which frankly is what happens in rugby.
Right.
Is kids don't grow up necessarily playing rugby. Yeah. Same thing with bobsled. Like bobsled, no one actually bobsleds. They just have a combine and they test you in like 5 different areas. I actually had a friend who was an Olympic level rower. And he was thinking about doing the bobsled. They do the same thing for rugby, where they just take really great athletes, kind of teach him the game. And so they did a fun draft on the Rugby podcast, looking at some of the greatest athletes in Denver, Colorado history, kind of compare them to current guys. And so that could be a good first foray in learning the sport is hearing about, where Chauncey Billups would be there, right. Von Miller, all those guys. It was pretty cool.
So the St. Louis Cardinals coming into town for a 4-game set. As we've talked about, this would be really nice time for the Rockies to finally win one of these 4-game sets. I'm still feeling a split, probably most likely, though. You want to get that first game. We've talked, I think, kind of ad nauseum about the reactions we think Nolan will get and all of that stuff. So just for the series, how do we think the Rockies are going to play, Makayla?
I hate making these types of predictions because I always feel like I jinx it. I think that they are going to be
terrible.
I think that they are going to play well. I think the Rockies are an incredible home team, and they have the obviously advantage of being at Coors. The Cardinals are struggling a little bit right now, especially, with their pitching. And I feel like now is a good time to capitalize on the fact that this Cardinals team is struggling a little bit. And I really feel like the Rockies would at least be able to get 2 of the 4. I feel confident in 2 of 4. I really do. I think, again, the Coors Field advantage for them is going to be their biggest asset. And as long as they don't kind of let the hubbubaloo of the cousin kind of distract them, I think they're going to be fine. And I think, I mean, obviously I can't speak for the team and I don't know how they feel about, the whole Nolan situation. None of us have been able to really talk to them since it all went down, but there might be a little bit of a chip on their shoulder there where they, they want to show that they can be a good team and perform without Nolan there. So I'm hoping that, they go out there and not demoralize the Cardinals, because obviously I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I hope that they hold their own, and I think that they will, and that they can. So I'm expecting at least a 2-game split.
Yeah, I think it's very possible for them to win 2 games, and that's going to be my prediction too. They, as we talked about previously at the end of the Milwaukee series, that each of their 4-game series, they've gotten better, right? They took the first game on opening day 1.0, which we didn't know that's what it was going to be called at the time, right?
Yeah, no, who knew?
You don't call something 1.0 because you don't know there's going to be a second. But yeah, they won the first game against the Dodgers. They lost the next 3. Okay, that's the baseline. Then against Cincinnati, they go 2-2, but they had won the first 2 games, had leads in the second 2, and frustratingly, the bullpen totally blows it up. And you split it, but man, that could have been better, and it looked kind of ugly on second thought. And then against Milwaukee, it was the same thing where Milwaukee just outplayed them. Milwaukee's a very, very good team. They're a better team than Cincinnati. They will win the NL Central. That will be my biggest regret that I didn't have the cojones to take them to win that division. And here's maybe an opportunity for them to take everything and all that momentum that they've had in those first 3 4-game sets and maybe use it again to their advantage. I know St. Louis has a 3-game winning streak going in to today, and that's going to be hard, and they've got their own uphill battle to go. But I like the angle that you've got there, Makayla, of the guys that are almost left behind. Like, hey, we still exist. We're still worthy of being traded to a contender and playing well. And so you know what? We're going to go ahead and
we're worthy of being traded.
Yeah, we are. Nolan left town and was like, look, trade me to a contender. I want to go win a championship again. So you don't think you could win one with us? So they've got that chip on their shoulder.
You're on a
Why
4th
not?
place team too, buddy. Hey, look, you're
that's true. And we're a better 4th place team, and I think that's what a lot of the guys are going to want to go out there and say. We're a better 4th place team.
You thought it was so much better over there? Well, you know what? You're miserable right now being on a team that's supposed to be good and sitting there in 4th place and pissed off. And look at how much fun we're having. Like, look at us running around the bases with Hampson and Tapia and Daza and these guys doing things. And
honestly, it brings me so much joy to see how upset Cardinals fans are with the state of the team.
So mad.
And watching them just speculate all over the internet if Nolan is going to opt out or not. It brings me
I just
so much joy.
So happy that's Katie Woo's problem now and not mine.
I'm sorry, Katie Woo.
Every
I'm
time I
so
see one of her
sorry.
tweets, I just feel like I just want to give her a hug and be like,
I know.
I know exactly how you feel. I've talked to her a couple of times.
But come on, none of you can deny
wrong.
It feels so good watching Cardinals fans just panic about whether or not Nolan is going to opt out or not. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
In a weird way, they're making a lot. I'm not gonna say they're making a lot out of nothing, but if he does opt out, what did they give up?
I was gonna say,
you know what I mean? Like it's not like, oh no, what did
they give
up
this
mistake?
For a guy, if you come in fourth place and then you lose the guy, and Austin Gomber turns out to be real, and any of these other guys hit, even if none of the other guys ever hit,
that's the only way this gets like saved to a degree, right?
Austin,
and to know that's on the table is interesting.
No, it might not be saved because if he opts out and goes to the Dodgers, that's just going to be everybody's worst freaking nightmare.
If we're talking about from the Cardinals' perspective,
but yeah,
at that
point, you got 5 ball players for a guy who went somewhere and added nothing to nothing.
Yes. Yeah, from a Cardinals perspective, that would just be, oh my God. I think Cardinals fans would actually burn down Busch Stadium at this point.
All right, what are the odds?
3, by the way.
You're winning 3. Okay.
Which 3?
And by what score?
Damn.
Time of game, and what is the temperature and weather at first pitch? Go.
I got the first 2 and the
last one.
The last one.
Marquez on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. So then what is the so Makayla and I both like 2 wins. So we're all right around the same general spot.
Yeah.
Right in the middle there. What's the percentage of chance that St. Louis sweeps? What if you had to throw a number at it? So the 2 to 3 win range seems like
low.
The 2 to 3 win range is probably like 70 percentile, right? There's a 70% chance they win 2 to 3. So there's about 30% left. I mean, again, this is just my scale, how I think.
I
look at extremes. Like, is it more likely St. Louis sweeps or more likely that the Cardinals sweep?
I think it's more likely that Colorado sweeps because it's at home.
I do too.
I
do too.
And I think,
yeah,
I really don't see the Cardinals sweeping the Rockies at home. I mean, if this club was on fire right now and they were first place in the NL Central and they were just, firing on all cylinders, then obviously that's a completely different story. But because they're not, and because it's at home, and because our starting pitching has looked so good, and I'm literally about to knock on wood for the next hour, the bullpen hasn't blown anything in the last 3 games.
Better.
I'm feeling pretty confident in the Rockies' chances. I'm literally knocking on wood right now. If this comes back to bite me, I'm not going to be on this podcast for the rest of the season.
Patrick's fault. He put you in this position. He made you fail.
But yeah, I really don't think the Cardinals have it in them to sweep the Rockies at home. And I think if we're doing what's more likely, I think it's more likely the Rockies sweep the Cardinals. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, and I don't think it will. But I mean, I think the chances of the Cardinals sweeping the Rockies is like less than 10%. But
you've got the St. Louis Cardinals who are supposed to win the NL Central. Mm-hmm. You've got the Rockies who are supposed to be a last place team, and thank you, Arizona Diamondbacks. Regardless, they are still at the bottom of the league. You would have to say, no, Cardinals are more likely to win all 4. Yet, I think you're right. I think it is more likely that the Rockies win all 4. Because the Cardinals right now on their 3-game win streak, who did it come against? The Arizona Diamondbacks, who can't win on the road. So you go, that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing.
The Diamondbacks have lost 38 of their last 45.
Yeah. And the Rockies have been so incredibly solid at home. I think they're like 10 games over 500 since the end of May at home, something wild like that.
They can sweep the Padres at home. They can sweep the Cardinals at home.
And also
so
the
it
Rockies
really is more likely,
this, and the Cardinals have been going like this. So based on math, geometry.
Will Raimel Tapia have more hits in the series than Nolan Arenado?
Pose that one more time.
Raimel Tapia, more hits than Nolan Arenado.
There you go.
Definitely.
That's all I need to know.
Definitely,
That's what we need.
Raimel Tapia is better than Nolan Arenado.
Right. Proof right there.
Does Nolan hit a home run?
Oh my
God. Does Nolan hit a home run?
Probably. He probably does, just because that's so typical of baseball. And I hope that if he does, he gets a curtain call from Rockies.
Let's go.
So he can never again say that he never got a curtain call.
They're gonna give him the video tribute.
Yes. We saw that was announced that they're gonna have it, which
they always do.
I'm a little surprised.
I'm not at all.
That's status quo.
Always do.
Yeah, that's status quo. I hope that they wouldn't be surprised by that.
There's a lot of things in this industry that are status quo that the Rockies do not subscribe to.
Okay, that's true. Okay,
but I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that they are going to.
That's the problem with this mentality. They have reasons for those things. This is something the Rockies have always done. That anyone thought they would mess this up is, again, just more of that standard. The Rockies will mess things up because the Rockies mess things up.
I've experienced the most painful moments of two franchises now at the hands of the Cardinals. I was at the game that Paul Goldschmidt came back to Chase Field for the first time, and they played him a video tribute. And now I'll be at Coors Field for the return of Nolan for the first time this season, where they will also pay him tribute. So I will now have experienced two of the most painful moments for two different teams. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm cursed.
It won't be that painful if the Rockies go out there and win at 5-0.
That's true. The only thing that I'm really sad about is that Gomber is not pitching. I wish more than anything he could have a second crack at playing against his old team, because I feel it in these old 24-year-old bones that start would go so much better than the one that he had in St. Louis. And I feel so bad that he doesn't get the opportunity. But regardless, I hope that his team pulls through for him, which I do believe that they will.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be intense. There will be fireworks. Not the actual fireworks. Those come a little bit later, but still.
Literally. Fireworks. Literally.
Fireworks. Hang out with us. Hang out at the ballpark. Hang out on Twitter. Follow everyone on social media at Patrick D. Lyons, at Drew Creasman, at Makayla E. Perkins. Hang out in the Discord channel, which you can only have access to if you're a member of the DNVR.com, where we'll also send you the free shirt and the free holistic stick when you sign up. So please do that. Hang out on YouTube. We're there as well. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, follow, go live, join the conversation while it's happening. Make sure you never miss out on these super fun things, especially when the Rockies get close to history and we can all get together and or sometimes even make it. Sometimes they make history. Sometimes they just get very close. So we're here either way. We appreciate all of you for being absolutely awesome baseball fans out there. We promise to continue being absolutely Patrick Lyons, Drew Creasman, and Makayla Perkins in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.